Down for us. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's start with the basics. What is the Trump administration proposing here?
Well, basically, this is the Trump administration trying to address the issue of affordability. So we've heard earlier about capping credit card interest rates at 10%. Now the president is moving over to address housing. So what the proposal is, at least initially, is to be able to allow first-time home buyers to be able to withdraw from their 401ks, right? Because if you withdraw before age 59 and a half, it's subject to a 10% penalty, plus you trigger the income tax. So what we're talking about here is to have no tax and no penalty with withdrawing money from your 401k in order to buy a home.
Now, before we dive even deeper into that, really how common is it today for Americans to use retirement funds for housing purchases? And how would this plan change current rules or incentives?
So what a lot of people do so that they don't incur those penalties, they will borrow against their 401k plan and then pay themselves back. The problem with that is, of course, is it does put pressure on your monthly cash flow, right? Because you're making your mortgage payments and then you're also going to have to make payments back into the 401k, because if you don't and it's a default, then it triggers that penalty and it triggers all the tax. So is it common? Well, yeah, for people who are short on that down payment, that's where they're going to go.
Right. And as if you are a first-time home buyer and you're seeing these high prices, really, what would be the benefit here with this plan for a first-time home buyer?
Well, of course, it frees up the liquidity to be able to buy the home, right? Because what we've seen now is monthly payments have doubled, as well as the requirement for the down payment. So when we look at that, it's all about freeing up liquidity. Now, the other side of this is it's going to create demand for housing. And what we already know is that there's a shortage of housing. So if we don't address that side and you have more people coming in on the buy side, what we may very well see is higher prices, which defeats the whole purpose of this plan.
And Dan, I have to ask, typically Americans can't withdraw funds from a 401k for a first-time home purchase without paying a penalty, right? So how could tapping your 401k now potentially hurt you later on in life as you are saving for retirement?
Of course, look, that's the other side of this as well, because you lose that time, the compounding interest. I always encourage young people, put as much money as you can away in your 401k, because time is on your side. Now, if you pull that out to purchase a home, you're losing all that time of gaining value over your lifetime until retirement. So it is a slippery slope. It's not like this is the full answer here. There are absolute consequences to pulling money out of your 401k before you retire.
Yeah, and Kevin Hassett, he said the goal is to make this simple without hurting retirement plans. But in practical terms, really, what safeguards are going to be needed here to be put in place to make that credible?
Well, so there's a few things here. Part of the concept is that you would still continue to save in your 401k the best that you can, and there has to be rules in place to make sure that it doesn't get abused. The other side of it is, the argument you could make is there will be greater appreciation in real estate than there would in the value of your 401k. However, that's not liquid. So you would have to look potentially at retirement. People sell their homes, right, because they want to downsize, or sometimes people are using reverse mortgages. So there are other vehicles that you can use the value of your home in order to create the money or the funds you may need in retirement.
And if we were to look at the housing market and how that would be impacted, could we see these prices go even higher there because of demand?
Absolutely. I actually think that is going to be one of the consequences here of doing something like this, because again, now you're going to be bringing in more buyers into the market, and we just don't see the inventory of homes rising. So I think part of what the president needs to do is address the issue of inventory on the market, which means you have to allow more building, you have to create more homes to bring onto the market.
Now, how might this proposal affect different income groups, right? Because particularly lower and middle income workers, how would that differentiate from those higher earners?
Well, the higher earners are going to have more benefit here because they are likely to have more funds in their 401k to be able to access. Now, when you look at someone who's not making that much money in terms of salary, they may not even be participating in a 401k, or if they do, they're limited as to how much money they put in. So when you look at a program like this, it absolutely will benefit those that are earning more and have put more money into their 401ks than those, let's say, that are in the middle or the lower end of income.
And as we take a live look here at Capitol Hill, when we talk about policy, are there lessons from past policies such as early withdrawals or loans from retirement accounts that policymakers should be mindful of here?
I think you always have to be careful related to retirement funds. There's been so much talk about, will Social Security be around for future generations? Because we already know that those balances are running very, very low. So when you put something in place that potentially lowers the amount that people would have saved for themselves for retirement, now we really get into a slippery slope, because hopefully what happens is that people have adequately saved in their 401k retirement plans, and they'll have some money from Social Security, and therefore they could live out their later years with having enough funds. When you start to play with this a little bit, it definitely could impact that. So lawmakers are going to have to be conscious of the fact, are we going to put more of a strain on Social Security, allowing people to take more money out of their 401ks pre-retirement?
All right. Well, Dan, we appreciate you coming on here. And as we continue to watch this, I'm sure we'll have you back. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.